So I'm trying to fiddle with this camera to get it to record me while I'm doing the cards, and it's not working. So we're gonna do this way, but I'm gonna try this experiment of talking to myself instead of being focused on channeling. Oh, it seems so dark. Yeah. So let's go over there. Hi. Ten of Swords, Lovers, Seven of Swords. What does this tell you? Most of you are tarot readers here. What does this tell you? This isn't for a specific zodiac sign. This isn't for, a love thing. But what does this tell you? To your soul, to your consciousness? You know what it tells me? You chose to move on from something and embrace something new. And now that you've chosen to embrace something new, the vibration of having let go of something is affecting someone else in a different timeline. It's not like the reverberations of you moving past a long-held trauma has caused a ripple in time that is healing another soul. Does that make sense to you? Now, the purpose of all these readings is to bring clarity to you. You know this. It's not about getting you to do any kind of anything in your life other than recognize that you co-create your life based on your thoughts, actions, decisions, and with source, whatever God is to you. And then that breaks down into, the different aspects of elements, the different beings and energies that assist you. They're all from God. The Knight of Swords. Having the clarity to move on from I keep hearing the word grudge. I'm feeling a very petty energy that you were holding on to. That what I'm seeing is like I'm looking at this and I'm talking to that. that. So this feels like, how do I explain this efficiently? Looking at it as a whole picture, okay? This is a mistake that was made in the past that wasn't reconciled. This was something within your life experience that you had to forgive without ever hearing an apology. In having done that, you learned to reconcile within yourself with a clarity that is carried by both hands, not just one hand. You have the sword of truth in both hands, and you're carried by wisdom, and you're authentic in your vulnerability. You're confident in what you experienced. Your heart is being opened, but your mind has still been shielded by something. It's like a ferocity, something you held onto with a ferocious vigor that you were like, no, I have been wronged in this. But realizing that if you, looking at it as the Lover's card, the flip-flopping, the Gemini and Pisces aspect, the Libra aspect, going from male to female, female to male, looking at it from the light and the dark, the shadows and, you know, the illuminated paths, you can see that you would have done the exact same thing in the other person's shoes had you lived their life. But having to accept that within the being of the self requires a sense of humbleness and humility. And the way to receive that, you figured it out within the recent 10 days, that in order to really move on from something, you have to move on from it emotionally within. The negative reaction that you were holding on to within your mind of something that is long gone, the Ten of Swords, it's like the ghost of a scar. Like, oh, I used to have a scar there. But you're seeing all the potential you could have had in the entire time you were focused on that scar and feeling justified in your behavior due to that scar. Seeing that if you let it go and move forward and enjoy your life and your body and your spirit and the people around you, that you kind of transcended time and space. What you did in the recent 10 days to make peace within yourself regarding some trauma that had occurred sent a ripple out in time to where somebody that regretted what happened in the past felt it in the future, because this action you took, this choice you made, wouldn't have been made for a very long time had you not, we're going to clarify this more, but had you not chosen what you chose to do, this Seven of Swords realization, this epiphany of responsibility from the other person, the other energies you've interacted with, would not have happened until very, very far down the line. But what you did is something brave and bold and in honor of yourself and who you are, by letting go of something in the past, no matter how much you wanted to hold on to it, and you moved towards a path for yourself. That sent a ripple out through the time space, bringing back the clarity to the past version of yourself and the past version of the other energies involved, which created a different outcome for the present moment you experienced, which in turn created a different moment for the possible futures you would experience. You see how these swords are pointing back? The pain you felt, you turned it into pleasure. In doing that, you caused someone else to search for their own pleasure too. And in doing that, you revealed how in the search for pleasure they were being inauthentic to what they actually thought they wanted. It was a hollow victory for them. So they wouldn't have realized that it was a hollow victory for a very long time into the future. But having done what has been done in the present moment, that connection gets switched. The Ten of Swords gets immediately illuminated by the wisdom sent from the old age of the future through the feather to the past, being carried by this person that thought they were wounded, but they were just being wounded to take off their armor so they can enjoy themselves. Does that make sense? If I'm going to apply this to myself and give you a personal experience, in the recent 10 days, I have experienced massive amounts of letting go. Like, of material things, friends, people, even like aspects of myself I thought I could never let go of. Like, it's been a really interesting few days, okay? We're just gonna leave it at that. Really nice few days. A really, really pleasant and fun and wonderful 10 days, actually. Despite all the negative interactions and all the positive ones, it's been a very enlightening experience. I think one of the highlights was when I got called a MILF. Yo, I don't think I've laughed so hard being called a MILF this week by a 22-year-old. I was like, what? Are you talking to me? Yo, that gas station is like the best place to hear the most random conversations. But yeah, I talked to people I wouldn't have talked to. I interacted with people I wouldn't have interacted with. I reached out and I helped people that I wouldn't have helped. The crazy neighbor lady that keeps knocking on her car every day and like has an argument. Today I went on a walk with her. I was like, come on, let's go. You need a walk. And I just grabbed her hand and we went for a walk. Like, I've been helping the neighbors and I've been getting random like thank you cards. It's been ridiculous. Like, had I not felt that anxiety and fear of interacting with different people and then gotten mad at myself for constantly denying myself anything because I was afraid or self-conscious, like I had my armor and my wounds completely scattered until I noticed all I am is all I am. It's a totality of it. Having realized this, it did send a ripple through the timelines because I can feel it having changed in the present moment. People are different. There's like different ways of doing things. People have been completely communicating with me in a different way. It's very strange. Pleasant, but strange. More clarity on the Lovers, please. I keep hearing we're proud of you, and I'm not certain if it's in what context it is, but it's like being said on a loudspeaker to an auditorium. So whoever you guys are dealing with, like your guides, your source self, your friends and all that, the universe, like give yourself a pat on the back for the path you walked on. Can you see that? It's the Strength card. Give yourself a pat on the back for the strength you've had for the path you've walked on. You've learned to balance the masculine and feminine within yourselves. You've learned to harness lust and passion and utilize it in a creative and productive way. You've learned to, I just saw the phrase like written out in front of me. You've learned to coat your words in gold. It's like his words are coming out of his head in gold. And Five of Wands, the Tower at the bottom of the deck. What does this tell you? In all the different ways you can read tarot, in all the different ways you can oracle this, what does this tell you for right now? Not past energy, not possible futures, for right now. You have the Ten of Swords being clarified by the Knight of Swords. You have the Lovers being clarified by Strength. You have the Seven of Swords being clarified by the Five of Wands. And then the underlying energy being the Tower. But this isn't just the underlying energy, this is the entire moment in time. One snapshot of your light right now in this moment. Do you see how there's so many different things that are going on in your life? But the core of it is the strength within you. How you are the masculine and feminine to yourself. Your connections, your responsibilities, your choices in life, and how you've learned to harness them and when to release them. You've learned to make decisions because you've seen how the future would play out if you would make decisions based on letting this lion loose and destroy things, or utilizing your grace to harness this power within you with nobility. You can either tear those gold strands apart and use your words like a lasso, or you can beat them gracefully, like a prayer. You can either, oh, my stomach's grumbling, I'm so hungry. You can either hold on to all those wounds and say, yeah, those are all the ways, you screwed someone over, or they screwed you over, or, the history book of your pain. Or you can rise above it, melt all those swords down into your truth of how you were wronged and how you wronged others, and claim it as yours. You have the power to heal and to destroy. Why hide in the light? Why just wield the dark when you can live in harmony with both, because they're both you? Any good animal trainer knows that you cannot train an animal until you connect with the mind and the heart of that animal. Until that animal trusts you, it will not do what you want it to do unless it gets something from you. Treats, praise, excitement, or like a job to do, like border collies to go herd sheep. They're not doing it just for you. They're doing it because they like doing it. But if you can harness your energy, your sexual energy, your sacred union within yourself, your lower 3 chakras, if you can balance them and elevate them, then you can contain that fire and chaos within you and utilize it to see the possible outcomes that could occur, so that when these tower moments happen for you in your life, you are immediately asking yourself the question, how is this teaching me? What is it that I didn't see coming? What is it that I was doing that led to this, so that this would have to happen to bring me back to this? It's always to bring you back to your own light, your own consciousness, and your own point of reference, right? Right? So what is it you've done, or you haven't done? I'm getting that too. Something you should have done that you didn't do. Because later you end up regretting it. But you're being shown now through time and space that you don't have to regret the future thing you did. So, okay, now I'm getting that there's a different aspects of you. I'm seeing the zodiac wheel like a Play-Doh ball, and it's being smushed down into different places like by a cookie cutter mold. Some of you screwed somebody over and you haven't made things right within your energetic balance and karmic perception of what you think is right. Some part of you knows you've screwed over and you're denying it to yourself. You're on your high horse and you're thinking, oh, this is not my problem. Everything I did is justified. Others of you have forgiven something unforgivable and moved on without even an apology, and you found balance within yourselves, and you're living the best part of your life, and it's going to keep getting better and better. The other parts of you are completely off, remembering something you did way back in the past, and how it's changed maybe even your entire family, or your grandparents and all of those, like some massive family contract or something that happened that you just want to break free of. But now you're starting to see that the way isn't through conflict. The way is through balance and harmony between the companies, between the people, between life. Even death has to get along with life. So, and then there's this other group I'm seeing that's like teeter-tottering between the fences, like these blue and purpley lights in between. It's like, you know what the right thing to do is, but you're waiting to do it because you keep waiting for more signs from the universe. If you think that it's the right thing to do. And if you keep putting it off, the universe is either going to give that opportunity to someone else, and you're going to be left with the ever grateful ruin Because ruin, like Elizabeth Gilbert says, is the road to transformation. Page of Swords over there. So another group of you is super bored and just done with all of it, and you're wasting your sexual energy on people that really don't appreciate you. Because you haven't been appreciating yourself. You get momentum to move forward, but then you douse your momentum, and you're like, no, not even worth it. And then when you make that choice to give up on something, you end up regretting it. So then the cycle starts over, because you remember how much it hurts to be like, it's the Four of Cups, so to be without something. I mean, if you're standing here staring at this, what does this show you? Someone's really sad, right? Someone's bored, someone's just chilling there, someone's relaxing, someone's taking pictures, but they're usually by themselves. I mean, if you're going to go there, you might be sitting at a beach party, but you're taking a moment by yourself. So you get the momentum to do something, and then you end up by yourself, and then you end up not liking it, and then you remember the pain, and then you move forward again, and then things stop you because you can't keep going forward in the way that you've been going. You have to do it in a more balanced way, in a more genuine and authentic way to yourself. You got to take the mask off. Even here. The real message is your vulnerability. It's not about, you know, the sadness and all the stuff that you've experienced. It's not about any of that. You can hold on to that as long as you'd like. And then the other subgroup of you, it's not about just making a choice and moving forward and leaving those people behind, saying they can take care of themselves. They obviously can't. And then those of you in the future, the grandparents and the great-grandparents and the descendants, whenever it is you're watching this, you have every ability to send messages back in time to create a change. Time is just a concept. It's a drop in the ocean. You can help. So if there's something that went on in your great-grandparents' life, or your future children's lives, you can create something now, and the choices you make will unmake the choices that were made that caused conflict and grief. Your choices can illuminate the path for the past. Your healing in present moment can affect the disorder and the disharmony in the past or the future. You can be the diverting flow, like this cat. The choice is always yours. Hold on to the past and continuously create these ripples of negativity and negative reactions to other forms of light, to yourself and your future. Or do the right thing for yourself. Not just in a selfish way, but the self that will have grandchildren someday. You will be the ancestor to someone. You're the past version to your future self. Do you want this to be your future self? Stuck in the Four of Swords, remembering the Three of Swords. Every time you're by yourself in those Four of Swords, the Three of Swords cut your quiet time apart by reminding you of the pain. And then you have that other sword right there being like, okay, I'm going to create a message. I'm going to be heard. I'm going to send this, apology. I'm going to make this offer. I'm going to accept that job. But then you end up cheating yourself through it because you get so excited that you get anxious, and then you perceive that anxiety as fear. And then that fear attracts some energies that are reminiscent of the past. And then you get stuck in the cycle of illusions and deceit and just feeling sorry for yourself. And then you take a break to heal, and you get your mind straight, you pick up the sword again, and boom, you put the mask on and your armor, and then the universe knocks you back off of it again. You know what the right thing to do is for you, not for anybody else. And the main right thing for you to do for yourself is to stop blaming yourself. There are no mistakes. So stop blaming yourself or anybody else. Everything that happened had to happen the way it happened. Now you can either take the mask off and let yourself be free and make better choices with the next choice you make when you get up from this, whatever, wherever you're watching this, and make a better choice. The choice that your future self would want you to make if you were your future self looking at your past self in this moment. And you were like, oh, I wish I would have done this that day. It was New Year's Eve on 2020. I wish I would have done that instead of that. What is that thing? Do you see that face right there? Some of you have interference and interlopers that have been messing with your mind. Do you see what I see? Oh. Okay. I'm being reminded of the gray alien story. The first time I heard it, the first version of it I ever heard from another person other than what I had experienced was that they were the future versions of ourselves. And they had come back in time to harvest material from the past versions of ourselves before we ended up getting sick. And, you know, the material that we would have had would have been unusable for reproduction. So that's why they had come back in time to do what they did. You know, all the infections and all that. And I find it funny how the world had been prior to this moment. And then seeing that face there. Because even in the dark and the light, you know, some ancestors' descendants don't look like we thought they would. Sometimes we think they're scary and monsters, and sometimes we think they're robots and machines, and sometimes we think they're minions and this and that. But really, we don't know what we don't know. We can make up whatever we want to make up, but really, until we've seen it and experienced it with our own eyes, all we have is what other people and the internet have told us. So, oh, I'm so hungry. Okay, do the right thing. You're not just a zodiac sign. You are everything. You're not the sum total of your past and your mistakes and all that. You're a real person. Okay? So, take care of yourself and have an awesome New Year's night. Please be safe and happy and call your family. And for fudge's sake, send a ripple of kindness out into the world. I don't care to who it is. I don't care to what it is. Like, I went for a walk with my neighbor today because she was angry and she was, just not having a good time. And I don't know. Just do something kind. Like, that ripple of kindness has come back today in so many different ways, and it's been instant. So do kind things. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it for personal gain, but it matters if you feel kind while doing it. Because eventually you'll get to the point where you're just being kind automatically. But first it's going to feel like you're doing it for yourself or for an outcome, and that's okay. When I was under the false impression that I was a really terrible person, I did a lot of terrible things by default. Oh, I know, stomach, I know, hold on. And when I stopped doing those things by default, I realized I'm not a terrible person. I was just doing really stupid shit. So And stop trying to fix yourself and just go do better things. Make better choices. Like, really make better choices. 7 of Cups. Some of you are really being led astray by forces that you have no idea aren't of the light. Be careful. Not saying this to scare you, but you gotta learn how to discern one way or another. You're either gonna learn by trusting your intuition and realizing what's your intuition and what's your thoughts and what's your feelings, or you're gonna learn by having tower moments constantly until you learn the vibration of what it is you're feeling. Quick example, last night I had an experience where I was getting this like weird spidey sense kind of thing, and I didn't know what it was. And then somebody texted me, and when they texted me, my phone went crazy and like wouldn't load the messages the right way. And then it like I couldn't delete messages off my phone to make room because I thought my phone was like running out of memory. And then I realized it's not me. I'm picking up on the negative vibes, and it's like my intuition being like, hey, you know, red flags, red flags. And I was thinking, oh, why do I feel this way? I feel anxious, I feel awkward, I feel so weird, am I nervous? But no, it's just me learning how to discern. My hair looks so fucking blonde. I don't know. I'm gonna go get some food. I'm hungry. I love you guys. I hope you have a good New Year.